Welcome all of you. This is our second lecture in the series of online lectures. We are learning the subject economics of standard 12. Welcome to my class economics standard 12. Okay. What we are learning, which topic we are covering these days? It is introduction to micro and macroeconomics. That is lesson number 1. Okay, and what we learned in our last lecture, see, we learned introduction, meaning, definition and scope. Okay, introduction, meaning, definition and scope of microeconomics. Okay, that was given on page number 1 to 3 of your book. See, this much we have covered: introduction, meaning, definition and scope of microeconomics. Okay, so what we are learning today? Today we are learning features of microeconomics. Okay, with this we are completing microeconomics, features of microeconomics, and after that we will start macroeconomics. Okay, in macroeconomics we will learn meaning, definition and scope of macroeconomics. Okay, that is given on page number 3 to 5. Okay, first we will start with the features of microeconomics. Okay, see, what is microeconomics? See, microeconomics is the study with the microscope, right? So you can see, you can find out the smallest cell, right? See, this is a microscopic study. What are the features of microeconomics? See, the first, what is meant by features first of all? See, features means characteristics, okay? Characteristics or specialities of something. So we are learning features of microeconomics, okay? The first feature, that is study of individual unit. Okay, see, as I have told you in earlier lecture also, microeconomics studies individual unit. Okay, so the first is microeconomics is the study of the behavior of small individual economic units. Okay, small individual economic unit like individual firm, individual price, individual household, etc. What it does basically, listen, it determines the price of the particular product, specific commodity, specific wages of a particular labor or work, or the income of a particular household, means how of family. Why it does so? Because so as to learn in detail about that individual unit, right? See, if the emphasis has been given on that specific unit, then only it is possible to learn in detail of that specific unit. For example, in specific household, okay, household means home, or specific commodity, right? Right. See, microeconomics learns in detail about the specific household, individual firm, a specific business, individual prices. Okay, see, these are the prices of different labors. Okay, so it is a study of individual units. See, this is single and not of the general or people, right? It does not study the people or general. Okay, it studies the individual unit. The second feature is, it is the feature of that is price theory. See, microeconomics deals with the determination of the prices of goods. Okay, see, here we are learning price theory, and in macroeconomics we are learning general theory. Okay, here we are learning that prices, it determines the prices of goods and services. Okay, as well as hectares of production. Okay, what does this mean? Prices of goods and products, goods and services, and prices of hectares of production. See, it determines the price of goods, like price of a notebook. Okay, prices of goods means, for example, a price of a notebook. Okay, or a price of a book, right? A price of a notebook, or also price of a book. Then a price of a pen. Okay, like that. So it determines the prices of specific unit. Okay, it determines the prices of specific unit. Then prices of factors of production. What does this mean? Prices of factors of production. Which are the factors of factors of production? Like land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. Okay, these are the factors of production. If prices of factors of production increases, okay, if the prices increases, then the price of the product will also increase. Okay, so it is studied in the price theory, how to determine the prices of goods and the prices of factors of production. Okay, see, the factors of production are land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. Okay, so what is given? What is to the factor land? What is the price? It is rent. To the factor labor, it is wages. Okay, to the factor capital, it is interest. To the factor entrepreneur, the price is profit. Okay, so these factors, how it decides the prices of the goods, like the goods or commodities, and also the prices of the factors of production. Okay, the prices are decided. See, this is the price theory. How to decide the best price of some commodity? See, these are the commodities, right? These are the goods. The prices are decided. The best affordable prices are decided. Okay, so these are the factors of production. Land. See, this is the piece of land. Labor, capital. Capital means money, and entrepreneur. Okay, and the expenses are made, and the prices are determined. And which price? That the price, see, the factory decides the price. Okay, and the price which will be, that much of price will be spent by the customer. So this price theory is important thing. The third feature is partial equilibrium. Okay, partial. First of all, we'll see what is meant by equilibrium. Okay, see, equilibrium is the balance between two factors. Okay, it is the balance between two factors. Microeconomic analysis deals with partial equilibrium. See, though equilibrium means balance between two factors, but microeconomics deals with the partial equilibrium. Okay, not the entire or full equilibrium. Equilibrium is balance. It does not deal with the full balance, which analyzes equilibrium position of an individual economic unit. Okay, that is individual consumer, individual firm, individual industry, etc. It isolates an individual unit from other forces and studies its equilibrium independently. What does this mean? First of all, balance. What is meant by balance? See, what is meant by equilibrium? Equilibrium means balance. Means it is a meeting point of demand and supply. Okay, balance means meeting point where the demand and supply meets. For example, demand of your parents is, what is the demand of your parent? That you should get good marks. Okay, and when the equilibrium will be achieved, if you give the good marks, result of good marks to the parents. See, then only there is an equilibrium between the expectation of your parents and whatever you give to them. Okay, this, then it is, we can call it is an equilibrium, a balance. There is a meeting point of their demand and your supply. Okay, the another example can be of equilibrium is, see, these days are the lockdown days. The books are not coming into the market in the stationery shops. Okay, so there is a lots of demand of books to the stationery shop, right? So if whatever is the demand, suppose the demand is of 50 accounts books, and it meets the bookkeeper or the shopkeeper supplies the 50 accounts books, then we can say there is an equilibrium. Okay, balance between demand and supply, meeting point of demand and supply. Here the forces, other forces means which forces? The forces means demand and supply forces. Okay, these are the demand and supply forces. Why it is called as partial equilibrium? See, what is meant by fully equilibrium? First of all, see, if it's studies the full equilibrium means entire customer, entire all firms, all customers, all industries, then we could have said that it is a fully equilibrium. But microeconomics does not study all customers, all firms, all industries. It studies only individual consumer, only individual firm, only individual industry. So it becomes partial. Okay, it makes the part, it becomes partial to the specific consumer, it becomes partial to the specific firm. Okay, that's why the equilibrium which is achieved is not the fully equilibrium, it is a partial equilibrium. Okay, means it deals with the equilibrium which analyzes the individual economic unit. Okay, this is partial equilibrium, not of the all, only of the single. Isolates means if this unit, which is this unit, a single consumer is to be studied, then he is isolated. Okay, isolated means kept separate. Okay, this person is kept separate from this crowd. Okay, and he is studied. Okay, not the entire crowd is studied, only that specific consumer is studied, means he is isolated from the crowd. This is called as partialism. Okay, partialism, giving justice to single unit is called as partialism. So a single person is studied, so it is called as partial equilibrium. Next, fourth feature is based on certain assumptions. Okay, see, microeconomic begins with the fundamental assumption that other things remains constant, that is ceteris paribus, such as perfect competition, laissez-faire policy, pure capitalism, full employment, etc. These assumptions make the analysis simple. What does this mean? See, to understand anything easily, what do we do? In real examples also, we consider something, right? What do we say to our friend? Suppose this, assume this, consider this. Okay, so why do we say that assume this, consider this? So that understanding of something should be easy and simple, right? Okay, why we assume something? Because the understanding should be easy and simple, right? Okay, easy and simple. That's why we make some assumptions, right? Okay, but here this microeconomics is based on some assumptions, certain assumptions. Which are the assumptions? Fundamental assumptions. Which are the fundamental assumptions? Other things remains constant. Okay, means if it considers or takes into consideration some factors. Okay, it considers some factors. Okay, and or supposes some factor and other factors are ignored. Okay, other factors are ignored so that the detailed study of that particular unit can be done easily. Okay, for example, which factors are ignored or which factors are considered that remaining constant? Example, for law of demand is based on the assumption that income of a consumer remains constant. Okay, to understand the economical concept, law of demand. Okay, you are going to learn it later on. Law of demand. Okay, this is the one of the biggest concept of economy. To understand this concept, law of demand, which assumptions are done? That the income of consumer remains constant. Okay, or the population of the country remains constant. Is it so? No. Sorry, but then so it is assumed so that it is easy to learn that specific topic, or it becomes simple to learn learn in detail of that specific topic. Such assumptions are made for making the study of that particular unit easy and simple. Okay, see, which are the assumptions of law of demand? Income of a consumer remains constant, population of the country remains constant. Okay, what is ceteris paribus? See, it is a Latin phrase and a dominant assumption. It is an assumption in mainstream economic thinking when translated into English refers to other things being equal or constant. Okay, it is in Latin. It is called as ceteris paribus. And what is meant by what is laissez-faire? See, it is a policy of minimum governmental interference in the economic affairs of individual and society. Is it true? But it is just considered. It is an assumption that a minimum government interference is there in the economic affairs of individuals and society. So these are the assumptions. This policy is an assumption. Next feature is slicing method. Okay, see, microeconomics uses slicing method. It's what is meant by slicing? Slicing means to making the pieces, right? When we make slices, we make the pieces of something. It splits means making the pieces, cuts or divides the whole economy. See, microeconomy, for learning the concept with the microeconomy, it divides the whole economy into small individual units and then studies each unit separately in detail. For example, study of individual income, of national income, out of national income. See, national income is a topic of macroeconomy, okay? But to learn and study individual income is the slice of the national income, okay? Individual income is a slice of national income, and what microeconomic studies? Only the slices, not the entire one. What is entire or aggregate? National income. And what is the slice? Individual income. So what is the way of learning microeconomics? Slicing method, okay? For example, study of individual demand, okay? Individual demand out of aggregate demand. Aggregate demand is learnt in macroeconomics, okay? And slice of that aggregate demand is individual demand, which is learnt in microeconomics. For example, uh, when we go to purchase mangoes, right, in the days of summer, okay, what do we do? What the shopkeeper does, what is the vendor does? It's he gives us the slice of the mango to understand the taste of the whole mango, okay? So what we take individual piece of that mango. The another example in economics can be for the slicing method. For example, different marketing managers are given the specific areas for marketing of that specific product, right? For example, means a individual marketing manager is given for his specific area, right? For example, a marketing manager is given for Delhi, right? Another marketing manager is given for Mumbai, okay? So what it is done? Slicing is done, right? So that the study can be done in detail, okay? So he can concentrate on the area which is given to him, okay? The entire Indian marketing is not given to a single marketing manager, okay? See, slices are done, and a specific firm, a specific industry, a specific household, a specific shop. Okay, this kind of individual units are only learned in slicing method by using the microeconomics. Next feature of microeconomics is use of marginalism principle. Okay, this is again a different concept. See, the concept of marginalism is the key tool. Key tool means important tool. See, the marginalism is an important tool of microeconomics. The term marginal, what is meant by marginal? Means change brought in, listen properly, change brought in total by an additional unit. Okay, change brought in total by an additional unit. See, marginal analysis helps to study a variable through the changes. Producers and consumers take economic decisions using this principle. What does this mean? What is meant by change brought in total by an additional unit? See, for example, we adding milk to a black tea. Imagine that we are adding milk to black tea. See, what does this mean? What it is shown? See, a milk has been added into the black tea, right? Milk has been added to the black tea. Okay, see, adding milk to black tea, then each small unit of milk, right? Each small unit of milk brings the unitary change in the taste and color of the milk, right? What is meant by unitary unit of milk? A single drop of milk will bring the unitary change in the taste and color of the milk. Here, the variable is the drop of milk. What is the variable? Drop of milk. All the things were constant, right? These things were constant. And who brought in the change? Every drop of milk brought the change. Okay? Change in taste and change in color. all the important microeconomic decisions are taken at the margins. Okay, this was the margin. There is a marginal change. This principle is used for getting or deriving the accurate and detailed information by that additional marginal unit. By that additional marginal unit, what did we can get the detailed information, right? Similarly, increase in income by a unit. Okay, increase in income by a unit will bring change in the expenditure. Okay, see, if we start to get a little more income, what will happen? We will tend to expend more, right? So a unitary change in the income, increase in the income, will bring the change in the expenditure. That is, expenditure means consumption, and that change in savings, that will convert into the change in savings also. Okay, savings means investment. So it studies the microeconomic variables. Okay, for example, for the if the additional income is there, then there will be additional output and the additional investment. If some additional capital, the another example, good example in terms of economics is that if some additional capital is introduced to the business, okay, then what will happen? If the additional capital has been introduced, then the raw material will be added, okay, then the labor force has to be increased, okay, so ultimately output will increase. Consequently, it will result in increase in income. So, if the income will increase, then there will be increase in the investment also. Okay. So, this marginalism principle studies about how much of extra utility will be achieved by introducing or adding that extra or marginal unit. How much of extra utility will be achieved? Okay, extra usefulness would be achieved by introducing or adding that extra marginal unit. Okay, the another example of this is, see, these days all of us are, the entire earth or the people on entire earth are expecting what should come, the vaccine should come on the coronavirus, on covid, right? See, so suppose this is an image, the vaccine is prepared, right? Then a single drop of from this medicine, this is the medicine, okay, a single drop of this medicine will make the changes in the content of the vaccine, will make the changes in the utility of the vaccine, right? A single extra drop, okay, will make the change in the utility of this vaccine. So this is the marginal utility. Okay, next feature is analysis of market structure. Okay, microeconomics analyzes different market structures such as perfect competition, monopoly, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, etc. Okay, these are you are going to learn later on. Okay, what is market basically? See, market is the place where the activities or functions of buying and selling of goods and services are done. Buying and selling, right? Buying and selling of goods and services is done. Okay, market is the place where the activities or the functions of buying and selling, buying and selling of goods and services are done, whether it is a real or physical market or virtual market. See, these days many of the people are going to or using the virtual market only, because we are not allowed to go to the physical or real market. So there is the scope of virtual market, e-commerce these days. Okay, that is also market. So what it studies, see, microeconomics analysis analyzes different market structures. There are different market structures like perfect competition, monopoly, monopolistic competition, oligopoly. See, these are the types of competition in the market. Let's see what it is meant. See, it analyzes different analysis structures of different markets, right? For example, see, this is a perfect competition market. Okay, this is a monopolistic competition market. This is monopoly. Okay, see why it is called as monopoly. See, for many of the things we use, we depend only on Google. Till the date there is no any big competitor for the Google. Okay, so it is a monopoly. Many people go for the Samsung company only. Why? See, these features are shown that they are eating the entire market, right? See, they are eating the all small competitors. Okay, the market is full of these monopolists only. Then this is the monopolistic. Okay, then see, a single big entrepreneur is eating all the small entrepreneurs, right? So this is a monopoly. So these are the different markets. Okay, so it analyzes the market structure. Microeconomics analyzes the market structure. And the last feature of microeconomics, it is of limited scope. It is very easy. We can understand it very easily. Why? Microeconomics learns a unit of everything. Okay, so it is a limited scope. The scope, what is meant by scope? Scope means area of study, range. We can call it as a range. What is the range of study? That is limited. Range or area of study. It is very limited. Why? The scope of microeconomic is limited to only limited to what? To only individual unit. Okay, it does not deal with the nationwide economic problems such as inflation. It does not deal with the inflation, deflation, balance of payments, right? Poverty. Poverty is a national problem. Unemployment, population, economic growth. These are the problems of which has the big scope, right? These things, these economic items has big scope. Okay, it is not dealt with it, or it is not studied in microeconomics. Okay, microeconomics studies only with a individual unit, single unit. Okay, not of the nationwide problems. See, it does not study the whole economy. Okay, it studies only individual economic unit. Okay, not the whole economy. It does not study the unemployment, poverty, okay, population. It is not studied by microeconomics. Okay, so these were the features of microeconomics. Now, as the importance of microeconomics has been reduced in your syllabus this year, so we'll directly move to the macroeconomics. Okay, macroeconomics, meaning, definition, and scope. See, the meaning of macroeconomics. Okay, macro is exactly opposite to micro. Macroeconomics is the branch of economics which analyzes the entire economy. Okay, it learns the analysis, studies the entire economy. Then it deals with the total employment. Which factors are studied? Total employment, national income. See, total means employment of all the people. National income means income of all the people staying in that nation. National output means all the output carried out in that nation. Total investment means investment of all individuals, households, companies, everything. Okay, total, aggregate. Total consumption, the aggregate consumption of all the households and the companies. Total savings, savings of by everybody. General price level. Okay, interest rates. In microeconomics, we learn individual price level, but here we are learning general. Okay, interest rates. Okay, interest rates of different things. Then inflation, trade cycles, business fluctuations, etc. Okay, these important big things are learned in macroeconomics. So macroeconomics is the study of aggregates. Okay, aggregates means in all or total. Okay, let's move to the definitions. This is the definition given by J.L. Hansen. Okay, macroeconomics is that branch of economics which considers the relationship between large aggregates such as volume of employment. Volume means quantity of employment of all, total amount of savings, total investment, national income. Okay, these things are learned, and this is the definition given by Zell Hansen. Then the another definition is given by Professor Carl Shapiro. Macroeconomics deals with the functioning of the economy as a whole. Okay, economy as a whole. Functioning means behaving of the economy as an entire. Okay, the following chart gives an idea about the scope of macroeconomics. Macro. whole, aggregate. Okay, see, this is the macroeconomics. What it is learned? GDP, that is gross domestic product, gross national product, that is GNP, demand and supply, consumption, investments, national investment, government spendings, export import. All these are the concepts of macroeconomics. Okay, which are the nationwide concepts. See, investment, government spending, consumer spending, total savings of the nation, income of the nation, taxes paid by the nation, import export. Okay, then different things like exports, employment, unemployment, foreign output, weather, fiscal policies, monetary policies, income policies, foreign trade. Okay, so these big items are learned, these big concepts are learned in macroeconomics. Okay, see, macroeconomics is learned in the way of these four theories, by following these four theories. Okay, theories always makes us useful to learn the concept. See, for example, when you are learning geometry, right, how, see how the geometry becomes easy for us, because there are different theories. Okay, if we consider the theories, if we assume the theories, then it is easy to understand some concepts. So the scope of macroeconomics is easy to learn by using these four theories. The first theory is theory of income and employment. Okay, theory of income and employment. Okay, see, this theory uses or is based, this theory is based on the theory of consumption function, theory of investment function, okay, and also theory of business cycle. Okay, the first theory, that is income, theory of income and employment, is based on the theory of consumption function, investment function, and also on the theory of business cycle. The second theory is theory of general price level and inflation. Third theory is theory of economic growth and development. And the fourth theory is macro theory of distribution. We'll see in detail. Okay, the first theory is scope of macroeconomics using theory of income and employment. See, macroeconomics analysis explains which factors determines the level of national income and employment. Okay, that is the level of national income and the level of employment. Which factors determines the level of national income and the level of employment? Okay, and what causes fluctuations in the level of income? Okay, why there is the fluctuation in the level of income? Why there is the fluctuation in the level of output and employment? Okay, what causes this fluctuation? To understand how the level of employment is determined, okay, we have to study the consumption function and investment function. Okay, theory of business cycle is also a part and parcel of the theory of income and expenditure. Now let's see, what does this mean? Macroeconomics measures national income. Okay, see what it measures? National income. It measures national income. Okay, macroeconomics measures national income, that is the aggregate income of all the people in that economy. Okay, it also analyzes the factors affecting the national income. It measures the national income, okay, and all the factors, okay, that causes fluctuations in the level of the income. Means, which the factors which affects the national income. Which factors affect the national income? For example, consumption, investment. Okay, these are the factors which affects the national income. Government expenditure, import export. Okay, these are the factors which affects the national income. Then the theory of employment analyzes the factors like level of employment in the country, causes of unemployment in the country. Then it prepares the policy to suggest corrective measures to control the unemployment. Okay, what is analyzed first? It unemployment is calculated, then the factors of the level of unemployment is calculated, and the causes of unemployment are ascertained. Then they prepare a policy to suggest the measures to control that unemployment. Okay, this theory helps to increase income as well as employment. Income is dependent on employment. See how the income is dependent on employment. If employment increases, then income will increase. It analyzes the wage in increase in the employment. Okay, how the employment increases. Okay, the in the income of the people of the economy, it studies consumption function and investment function. If consumption increases, what is meant by consumption? Usage. Okay, if the consumption increases, what will happen? See, we'll take the good example what is going on these days. Okay, of the consumption and all. See, if the consumption increases, what will happen? Okay, if the consumption increases, what will happen? The employment will increase, right? The employment will increase. Okay, and if the employment will increase, income will increase. Okay, and if income increase, then the investment will increase. How this can be achieved? See, let's take one example. See, these days, all the which see in the lockdown days, in the COVID affected days, what everybody is purchasing. See, everybody is behind purchasing of the medical things, medical instruments, right? See, so the consumption of which instruments is more these days? Medical equipments, right? Everybody is purchasing the medical equipments. So the consumption is increasing. So what it will make to more. See, so the manufacturer or traders, manufacturers or the producers of those medical equipments will produce more equipments. Okay, so more employment will be generated, right? More employment will be generated to produce more consumptions. Okay, if more employment is generated, then more income will get generated, right? And if the more income will get generated, then automatically more investment will get generated. Okay, this we are talking about the national thing. Okay, so this theory also examines the interrelationship between income and employment. Income and employment, right? See, employment increases, then the income will increase. Okay, between the income and employment, and suggests the policies to solve the problems related to these variables. Okay, if this changes, then what it will affect the entire cycle. Okay, like employment increases, income increases, and income increases, then consumption increases, and the consumption increases, then investment will increase. Okay, then this theory uses or learns business cycle also. What is meant by business cycle? See, to learn business cycle, see, as more circulations are there in the business will grow. For example, more cash is introduced in the business. Okay, more cash is introduced in the business, then what would be done of that cash? Raw material will be added, right? With the more cash, raw material will be added. If the more raw material is added, then the more finished goods will be produced. Okay, more finished goods will be produced. Okay, and more finished goods are produced, then the more sales will get generated. More sales will get generated, and the more sales will give more cash again. Okay, this is called as business cycle. So as fast this business cycle is moving, okay, as fast as the newly introduced or added cash or capital gets converted into raw material, then finished goods will get prepared, then it would be sold, and again the cash will get will get added to the business. So as fast as this cycle moves, it employs it will generate the employment, right? So fast is the income will generate. It will generate the employment and it will generate the income fast. Okay, so this is the theory of income and employment. See, income, these are the poor people and they don't have the income, right? And Unemployment is again the biggest problem. See how the prosperity cycle works. See, increase in the production will get higher employment. Okay, higher employment will lead to increased income. Increased income will lead to increased consumption. Increased consumption will lead to higher aggregate demand. Okay, with the consumption, demands will increase, and if the demands increase, the production will get increased. For that, I give the example of consumption of these medical utilities these days. Okay, because demand has been increase of the medical utilities, so the production is done of the medical utilities, and higher employment is used for new people are employed for preparing them, so income will get generated, so those people will get the income. Okay, new employment will get income, and they will consume more things and the demand will increase. Okay, so this is the business cycle. See, cash will get converted into raw material will get converted into stock in process, then into finished goods, then it will be sold, debtors will be get created and debtors will pay the cash. Again, this will be keep on moving. Okay, so this is called as the business cycle. The second theory, that is a scope of that is theory of general price level and inflation. Okay, see, in microeconomics we learn price level of individual unit, but here we are learning general mean in all total price level. Okay, macroeconomics analysis shows how the general price level is determined and further explains what causes fluctuations in it. See, it determines the first it determines the general price level, and then it determines how why it is fluctuating, why the general price level is fluctuating. Okay, the study of general price level is significant on account of the problems created by inflation and deflation. Okay, what does this mean? We'll learn in detail. See, it is significant. Significant means important. Okay, it is important. Why it is important? On account of the problems created by inflation and deflation. Okay, the problems which are created by inflation and deflation. See, the general price level or average price level. Okay, general price level or average price level of all the output. Okay, that is all the outputs of the country. Okay, general price levels means price level of price of all the outputs of the country. Outputs means that is the price of all the goods and all the services. Goods, all the goods and all the services. Okay, that is totally called as output. What is the output of the country? Goods and services. So, the average price of all the goods and services produced in an economy in a given period of time is called as the general price level. Okay, this price level determines the inflation or deflation. If there is, what is meant by inflation and deflation? See, if there is inflation, okay, what is meant by inflation? Rise in the price. Okay, if there is an inflation, then the study of the macroeconomics helps in analyzing the reasons of the inflation. Okay, reasons in the inflation, reasons in the increase in the price. Macroeconomics helps in analyzing the reasons of this inflation, and then it suggests the measures to reduce or the control the inflation. Then country changes the policy of the general price level. Okay, if there is inflation, then the then the country changes the policy of the general price level. Okay, this is learned in the theory of general price level and inflation. Okay, see, these are the different commodities. Okay, these are the different, see what is produced, what is called as output of a country, goods and services. Okay, what is meant by goods? Different commodities. Okay, different commodities are called as the goods, and different services or machineries, equipments, etc. See, microeconomic determines the price level of a single unit, that is price theory of a single item or commodity. Here, it studies the general price level, that is the price of all the products. Okay, all the products, that is all the products of grocery, automobiles, diesels, petrol products, machineries, okay, etc. So it analyzes whether the price of the product is increasing, or that is inflation, or decreasing, that is deflation. If there is no any demand, when the deflation see, that is deflation. When deflation happens, when there is no any demand, okay, so whatever are the changes that affects the general price level, and that is studied by the macroeconomics, okay, that is the studies. And also the studies in the fluctuation, means why the fluctuation is there. And next, see, these are the different goods, whereas these are the services, okay. No, these are the different combination of goods and services. See, these are the different services, like for example, insurance services, transport services. These are different transport services, carriages and all. Okay, here are goods and services combined. See, in 2018, the price of this cup was, for example, $1. Okay, and there is 10% inflation in 2019. See, in 2018, the price of the cup was rupees $1. Okay, and there is 10% inflation. And in 2019, with the 10% inflation, the price of that cup is $1.10. That is, this is the inflation. Okay, add. Okay, what happens with the inflation? If the prices increase, the value of the money decreases. Right? See, how the value of the money decreases? In 1 rupees, this cup of tea cannot be brought. Okay, so price of 1 rupee, the value of the 1 rupee gets decreased, right? Okay, when there is an inflation. Okay, when the prices rises, the value of the money gets decreased, declined. Okay, this is called as inflation. What is general price level? It is an index that measures the change in price of goods in an economy over time. Okay, over time, over a specific time, and hence the purchasing power of the currency of the country. What was the purchasing power of that $1 in 2018? One cup of tea. But over a period of time, in the next year, the price of that $1 got declined, and the purchasing power of that currency, means of that $1 got declined. Okay, so it brought the change in the price of the goods. Okay, it is called a general price level. Third theory is theory of growth and development. Okay, see, macroeconomic consists of the theory of economic growth and development. It explains the causes of underdevelopment and poverty. Okay, underdevelopment, poverty is also learnt in by growth and development theory. It also suggests strategies for accelerating growth and development. Okay, poverty should be reduced, underdevelopment should be reduced. Okay, and what should grow? Development should be there. Okay, economic development should be there, development should be there. Okay, what does this mean? What is meant by growth and development? First of all, see, growth is always vertical. Okay, and development is always horizontal. Okay, development can have two sides. Always remember, development can have two arrows in two sides. Okay, and growth should have always arrow in one side. Okay, upward arrow. And development can have many arrows in different directions. Okay, so what is meant by this growth and development? See, growth is the increase in the number or quantity. Okay, growth is the increase in the number or quantity. Okay, and development is the increase in the number of, increase in the quality. Development is the increase in the quality. Okay, so for example, in your school or in a college, if there are increase in the number of students this year, okay, if there are increase in the number of students, then what it is? It is a growth. There is a growth in your school. Okay, if there is development, there is increase in the development, means increasing facilities in the college, like preparation of the library. They have prepared. They have built new library, different grounds for different games, high-tech lab is there, CCTV cameras has been installed, digital classrooms are there. Okay, so all this called as development. Okay, so how to utilize this concept in economy, this growth and development? See, the examples which I gave you were the general examples. How we can utilize this concept in economy? See, macroeconomy suggests to frame such policies to grow the economy. Okay, which are the policies? It studies the level of the poverty. First of all, it studies the level of the poverty, level of the underdevelopment, the level of unemployment. Okay, then availability of the resources, and then it takes the corrective measures or strategies to grow the economy of the country. Okay, it studies the level of the underdevelopment, poverty, unemployment, then how much of resources, available resources are there, and then it suggests some measures or corrective measures, strategies or the policies to grow the economy of the country. This is called as growth. And how it develops? See, it develops, the economy of the country develops by developing infrastructure facilities, like infrastructures like infrastructure in the power sector, service sector, banking sector. Okay, transportation sector. See, day by day new roads are constructed, right? So these are the infrastructure, so that is called as the development of the country. Okay, and when we achieve the growth of the country, when there is no, when they achieved the, they accelerated the growth and development. Okay, when the poverty is removed. Okay, everybody gets the employment. See, economy gets developed. Okay, this is the example of development. Development in all ways. See, these are the households, these are the properties, right? This is the money. Okay, see, this is the growth in the infrastructure. See, these are the new buildings are built, new roads are built, no new bridges are built, right? New factories are there, new productions are there. Okay, new technology has been introduced, right? So this we can call as a development, theory of growth and development, right? See, growth, factories are there, right? Different instruments are there, goods and services are brought in. Okay, so this is the example of growth and development. Okay, growth should be in vertical direction only. It is calculated in terms of quantity. Okay, and the last concept is macro theory of distribution. Okay, see, what is meant by macro theory of distribution? Macro theory of distribution deals with the relative shares of rent, wages, interest, and profit in the total national income. What does this mean? See, to equally distribute the national income, see, national income must be equally or properly distribute. Okay, to distribute the national income of the country among different factors of production. Which are the factors of production? See, land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. Okay, these are the factors of production. Okay, to distribute the national income to among the factors of production like land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. Okay, how it is? What the remuneration is given to the land? It is rent. What is the reward given to the laborers? It is wages. What is given to the capital? It is interest. And what profit is given to the entrepreneur? It is profit. Okay. So this will be distributed to the land, wages, labor, interest on their capital, profit to the entrepreneurs. Okay, so whatever income a business firm earns, it distributes it to the all the factors contributed for its production. Okay, see, whatever income a business gets, it distributes to the all the factors which are responsible for its production. This theory analyzes how the national income is distributed. Okay, how national income is distributed. See, which are the factors of production? This is land, these are the labors, this is capital. Okay, capital can be in any form. Then enterprise. This is entrepreneur. See, entrepreneur means a person as well as his knowledge, experience, skills. All this comes under the entrepreneur. See, his knowledge, skills, experience. Okay. See, factors of productions are inputs needed in the process of conversion of or production of goods and services. Land is there, labors are there, capital is there, and entrepreneur is there. And what is given to them? These are the factors of production. And what is given to them? See, what is given? This is the reward or money or remuneration paid, right? So this is the remuneration paid by the services given by them. Okay, rent is given to the land. Okay, like this. Wages are given to the labor. Salaries are given to the employees. Okay, salaries are given to the employees. Profit is given to the entrepreneur. Okay, so this was the fourth theory. What we will learn in our next lecture? Features of macroeconomics and exercises. With this, our first lesson will finish. Okay, because most of the syllabus has been reduced, which is this is given on page number 5 and 7. Features of macroeconomics and exercise. Okay, so these are the differentiations between macro and macroeconomics. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe, and